How's Isaac wanting to go, mate?
Yeah, Isaac's okay. Went straight into hospital immediately after the game. Was able to clean up the wound and stitch it up. He's moving around okay. He's actually on crutches at the moment for a couple of days just to keep the weight bearing off that leg, and he's begun his recovery. It's just going to be a matter of looking after the wound, making sure it doesn't get infected, and giving it every chance to heal.
So is he going to come back? That he won't actually come back at all? Is he a chance to come back, or like this year?
We believe it's just a matter of letting that wound heal. There's nothing really underneath it. Obviously, there's some soft tissue damage. And there's a little bit of bone bruising, I'd imagine, on the shin itself. We anticipate that we would see him. We're probably a couple of weeks. So however long that looks like, or however many games that is. But as we stand, we just have to wait for that wound to heal.
Unfortunately, Bucks, you've got a few options to choose from. Can you give us an indication of which way you might be leaning on that front?
We have our only session for this break tomorrow. We do match committee this afternoon, so we'll get an idea from medical, where guys are at, how they pulled up from the game, and what we're going to do going forward into the contest on Tuesday against Adelaide. We've got some guys that are up and about, and we'll pick our fittest 22, our most balanced side to get the job done on Tuesday.
How's Scott Pendlebury travelling?
Yeah, he's actually going okay. His last sort of week and a half has been relatively positive. He's slowly stepping up his loads from a running perspective, starting to do a little bit of agility work. He did a little bit of kicking yesterday. He won't be right for Tuesday. He may be right for Saturday against Melbourne, but we've still got a couple of other sessions to go. It would be optimistic to expect him for round 12, but we may get him beyond that.
How's the fallout from Adam Shaw's hammy? Obviously, we know he's got history there, so you're going to treat him cautiously. But is it sort of, are you going to get him back within this fixture release from round 13, or is it probably going to now be beyond that, given his history?
We won't see him. It'll be a minimum 3 weeks, and that's it. We think it'll be a standard sort of 3 or 4 week recovery for that. So that would take him beyond where we know the fixture sits at the moment, which is our game against North in round 13. Ads just needs to recover from that, and he'll be in the mix for us towards the back end of the fixture.
I know he's coming back from a soft tissue back at the start of the season. I can't actually recall whether it was the start of the actual season or the season restart, and he might have hit the calf on his way back. But how obviously he's got a history of this soft tissues. I mean, how cautious would he be with his building back into coming back into the proper footy? Because I know you kept him back a week extra than what he would normally have if it was another player initially way back when.
Yeah, we'll just treat ads. Obviously everyone has a history, and we use that history to make sure that we are finding the right programs for guys going forward for them to find their best and their optimum when the whips are cracking. Ads will drop into a program that we think is going to suit him. But it's too early to know exactly how we will treat that at the back end of his recovery. Clearly, the information we gather between now and then will be part of that.
Do you feel like you're not getting a decent run at it? I mean, you got probably
almost 6 of your best 10 out or something like that. How are you holding up?
Going all right, thanks, Dan. I mean, we can actually, if we spend all of our time, I'm going to get philosophical here, in football and in life, looking at the things we don't have, we'd be pretty upset, mate, most of the time. So, we've always looked at the opportunity. We've always looked at the possibility and the good side of any challenge, and we'll continue to do that. We do believe that if we just take last week as an example, we felt like we played a whole lot better than we had the 2 weeks prior, and I'm not sure whether you could say that our personnel or our talent was any better, but we just played better as a team. And I think if we do that, we'll give ourselves a chance against anyone, anytime, because we think that we've got a really solid team unit, and that when we play our style and we come together as a team unit, regardless of talent, that we're pretty hard to beat. So, we want to see more of that. Clearly, we can be cleaner. We can execute better with ball in hand. But there was a lot to like about the way that we set the ground up and controlled the game against Sydney. And regardless of personnel, we think that we'll give ourselves a chance at any stage.
And just in terms of the coaching setup, clearly the soft cap cards are coming, and you got August 1 is that soft deadline. I mean, is there any clarity around what your team's going to look like next year?
No, look, there's an indication on where the soft cap is going to land, and that's going to force changes to football departments as we've seen in this year. But those conversations sort of are ongoing. We're trying to stay as connected as we can with our people that are stood down or that are not in the program at the moment and not in the hub. And that is, there's one of the challenges that probably hasn't been discussed as much over the last sort of 4 to 6 weeks, when we've back focused on what's going on field and a little less about what's happening behind the scenes. But funnily enough, we don't have a boot stutter on staff at the moment, and I don't know if many teams would. We're probably at half of our sort of coaching, or 2/3 of our coaching group and 2/3 of our medical and fitness crew are on board, and we're trying to facilitate and supply the same number of players. So it's been a challenge, a logistical challenge in the early stages, and what it looks like beyond this year, we haven't come up for air at this stage, but clearly they'll be important decisions as we go forward.
You did just touch on the boot starter there. We touched on Isaac earlier. I mean, is there any further fallout from your end over just the way it panned out? Clearly there was some frustrations there the other night, or it seemed like it.
Yeah, look, I personally, when you sort of dig deeper into the issue, I'm not sure if it's metal studs that are actually the issue. For me, it would be more the shape of the studs. If they're sharp, or we've got a pointier end compared to the blades and the moulded soles that we've been able to use more often recently. I think it's probably a few things that have come together. Like the Queensland grounds are a little softer, so a little heavier underfoot, and they do get slippery. So probably got more players wearing sort of longer stops than they may have before. And I know that clearly the rule against metal studs or stops has been there, but I'd suggest it's more the shape of them, and and really the boot studders are the ones that have made sure that the boots comply, and we sort of just move on, and the compliance can get a little bit grey, and I think that we've seen evidence of probably a few of those compliance issues not really being attended to because of the changes in responsibility in football clubs or in the AFL widely. So it's probably one of those situations where a few things came into play, and it was a bit of misfortune as well. The AFL have now cleared that up.
So you missed the boost at it, Bucks?
Do we? Yeah, we miss Nilo. He's our boy. He's been a part of our glue, part of the furniture for a long time. Absolutely, we miss him.
Hey, Bucks, Mason Cox's selection is always a talking point each week, but is it getting to the point now where you're having a sit down with him and sort of discussing his future at Collingwood? I think he's out of contract at the end of the year, maybe based on a trigger or maybe a course thrown in there. But is he getting to the point with some frank discussions with him?
No, we're still fully focused on this year and getting Mason to a level that he can contribute to us at the top level. He played. If you look back over his performances this year, his round one game was through the roof. He was really important for us. But coming back from the break, he just hasn't been able to find that form and impact for us at either senior or at in our practice match level. So Mason's very aware of where he sits and what what we are asking of him, and now it's just a matter of action.
So you think he's got a future long term in Collingwood still?
Yeah, well, everyone has that possibility. We continue to try and pick the best side based on form, based on role play and contribution to the team, and Mason's no different to every other player in that regard. Everyone wants to contribute as best they can and are working towards it. It's a tough caper. Everyone has sort of downturns at times and challenges that they go through and trying to get back to their best form. And Mason's simply one of those players for us that's got plenty of time to redeem the early stages of the season and contribute to us towards the back end.
How's Travis Bartow going? Can you shed some light on why he missed round 10?
He had a death in the family, so he left the hub to attend that. With his immediate family, and we were able to fill the void here, but he was where he needed to be, and he's back on deck now.
So he hasn't had to do any quarantine or anything like that, or he can rejoin the hub instantly?
Yeah, no, we went through all of the compliance for that with the AFL and the government's involved, and he was able to attend the family gathering, and then he was away for 3 or 4 days, came back, had a couple of was quarantined, had a couple of negative tests, and then was able to re-enter our system.
Hey, Bucks, what's your read on the Crows? Many of us will probably think that they'll have to break their drought at some stage. I mean, does that sort of mean you've got to be wary of them?
We don't ever take any opposition lightly, and we'll be looking at the Crows as deeply as we look at any team, and we'll be coming back to ourselves as we always do, focus on what we're going to bring to the table. Their long-term win-loss is not significant to us. We'll look at their last 2 or 3 performances and use that as a guide to where they are going to trouble us and what they're doing well in their game and where the opportunities might be for us as well.
They seem to go after Max Gawn a fair bit in their last game. Are you worried they could go after Brody Grundy in that sort of way?
Potentially, but Broad's cops that every week, so it's not something we're concerned about, and we actually love the fact that the physical game and the challenge is something that Brody's always risen to, so we've got no fears in that regard.
And just quick update on Jordy to go. How's he going? I've seen him in that big cast sort of for much of the last couple of weeks. Is he out of that? Is he doing any more work? I guess it's still timeline to be later in the year he comes back.
He's been able to sort of get some conditioning work in, and he's in. He looks in really good nick actually. But that finger's going to take a little while to recover. I'm not sure when his next appointment is with the specialist, or whether in fact that can happen. It might be a remote appointment, but he's going relatively well and doing everything in his power to get himself back as quick as possible.